Fnatic styrker deres early game. De er altid de første til at lave et play. De er aggressive og sikre i deres play.
Under en lång tid nu så har jag sett G2 som den tuffaste motståndaren i Europa. Jag tror jag och Zven är väldigt lika faktiskt. Även om han hade en bättre performance i 2016 så känner jag all in all att vi är väldigt lika.
Jeg ser altid frem til at spille mod Rekkles. Han er altid anderledes end andre. Han har altid en anden idé om, hvor man skal spille spillet.
Om jag inte hade haft han vid min sida så hade jag inte varit så bra som jag är idag.
Ja, jeg vil mene, at det har altid været Rekkles og jeg, der har været de to bedste AD carries i EU. Det har næsten altid. Mig mod ham, eller ham mod mig. Jeg føler, at de er klar til at finde deres fjerde spil i det træk.
I och med att vi har ändrat på mycket under mittendelen av splitten så känner jag att vi har väldigt goda chanser att ta hem pokalen igen och prestera på oss.
Det er meget nemmere at se op til andre og følge dem og blive lige så gode som de er, end det er at være de bedste hele tiden, så forblive de bedste.
Welcome back to the LCS studio for this fight in one of the biggest rivalries in European League of Legends, G2 Esports versus Fnatic. Now joining me are James O'Leary and Misfits Gaming's PowerOfEvil. And you've played a very interesting series. I want to remind people going into this series that technically it has zero impact on the standings, just like Rockhat versus Misfits. But I don't think they're going to approach it with the same strategy that you did.
No, I think it's different because Fnatic against G2, it's like, if for some reason they would face each other in like finals or in the bracket of playoffs, I feel like even if you don't want to reveal a lot in the series, whoever is winning the series is kind of like gets like a mental edge on the next, I think, best of 5. So it's like, I would say, like a little show match who is kind of getting the mental edge on the next one.
I think that's important because it could be the finals, right? In playoffs, this is the last time until finals that Fnatic and G2 can actually meet.
It's kind of crazy to think that this is like panned up to be our finals matchup. G2 struggling, Fnatic on the rise, G2 now coming back. So much has changed over the course of this split, and both of these teams coming off of some, I think, pretty safe to say, tough losses against Rockhat and NIP. Like, no matter how locked Fnatic were in at that point, you have to imagine that these teams are kind of reeling from an unexpected loss there at the end of the season.
And I said that yesterday on the desk when we were looking at NIP and Fnatic. You expect them to come back in game 2 even if they lose game 1, if they take their eyes off. But they didn't, and NIP showed that they could contend against Fnatic. I think the thing for Fnatic now is they cannot go into this series underestimating G2. G2 want to win. Youngblood said it when he was on the show the other day, that he still wants to beat Fnatic and prove that G2 are the top team despite what the standings say.
You need to keep in mind that NIP and Rockhat, both teams had like literally zero pressure on themselves because Fnatic and G2 are like, first of all, they're really expected to win. They're expected to snowball on them and I guess win in a 2-0 fashion. And NIP and Rockhat can kind of like lay back, can take every risk they want because if they lose really hard, or like they expected to lose, so it's really easy to play, I think, the game.
Yeah, no pressure on them, but now we see more pressure potentially mounting in this matchup. Now, Power, with you here, I want to focus in on the mid lane. Perkz and Caps are two of the most talked about mid laners in Europe, along with yourself and Febvin, I would say. So I want your impressions on these guys. Who do you think actually has an edge in the matchup between these two?
I think they're both a little bit different from the playstyle. I would say Caps is more the kind of like roam player. He plays like Aurelion Sol, Talia, these champions a lot, right? And he's trying to get a priority mid lane and snowball it onto bot lane mostly, onto Rekkles. Back then, they always played these split push AD carries and this kind of style. So I think he's the kind of player who wants to get priority and snowball side lanes. And Perkz is, I think, taking less risk in lane. So I would say Caps is the more aggressive player in lane. And Perkz is playing, I would say, more calculated. And I would say he would... even take or play champions who are supportive for the team. So he would more often, I would say, pull out a Galio. More often, he would maybe even play a Lulu for Zven. I think so. I think they're both pretty similar in mechanics, but a little bit different playstyle or mindset.
And I think when you look at their performance throughout the split, Caps has been maybe somewhat more consistent throughout, whereas Perkz, the early weeks were rough. The Lucian games that we saw out of Perkz just didn't really leave a lot to be desired. But now the last couple of weeks, for Perkz has been a lot better. The swap back to the Syndras, the Aureas, that type of thing has been much better for G2. And I think the series earlier this week against Rocket was a blip on the radar. I think now we're going to see Perkz back at full strength against a Caps who's been good all split long.
And I'm curious where we think this is going to go in terms of matchup. Is this going to be a series where we see picks like a Kayn and a Azir, maybe the Jayce, some of these more unique picks for each player? Or is this going to be a series where it's very safe, very standard sort of meta picks, the Syndra, the Orianna, maybe a Galio coming out, these things that we've seen that are reliable? Or are we going to see maybe that more aggressive side of Caps where he picks something that can win lane, that can push and roam? What are your impressions?
I think we're probably going to see maybe in one game Caps bring something that's oddball, but I think it's going to be standard meta for the most part.
I think it's going to be like just the standard picks like Taliyah, Galio, like Syndra, Orianna are really strong still. So I think it's going to be one of these picks, and it's going to be a lot mid lane focus, because I think the current meta, if you get mid lane focus or like mid lane priority over bot lane or over jungle, you can place so much vision and you have so much control around the map that's, I think, really easy to play out the game.
All right, so keeping the focus on the mid lane, I'm going to go through each of you. I want to start with you, PowerOfEvil. If you are Caps, or if you were picking for Caps, what is the ideal champion in picks and bans to set him up for success? What is the one champion, meta or otherwise, that you would pick to help him take down G2?
If I was Caps, I would probably play Taliyah, since Taliyah has automatically free push in the early game, and Perkz likes to play Taliyah as well, so I think Taliyah is a really important pick in that series.
All right, same question for Perkz. If you're trying to take down Fnatic Stress, what's your impression? What do you think is the best champion we can see him on today?
So I agree about the early pressure, but my pick actually is almost the opposite. Orianna. I think you can have some presence early game. You do lose the push against picks like Taliyah. But then teamfight presence, the ability to hold mid lane, that kind of thing, I think can work well with the rest of Fnatic. And it gives Rekkles another protection in lane. I think Orianna is difficult for me not to be at the top rank of mid laners.
All right, well, we'll see if Caps can conquer the lane kingdom as the teams are ready to step out onto the battlefield. Quickshot, Deficio, take it away.
Thank you very much, Drakos, and good evening, everybody. I'm Trevor Quickshot Henry, joined here at the Costas by Martin Deficio Lunga for what is sure to be a more serious battle, at least at the start.
At least the start should be a bit more serious picks. We're hearing from a lot of the players, they actually really want to win 2-0.
Aww, we love you, Deficio. I love you too, Deficio.
And yet you never made a sign for me, Trevor.
I did not, I
prefer those guys over you now.
Oh, okay, well, that's fair enough. Anyways, let's take a look at who's starting on the blue side of the rift. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the 5-time European LCS champions, the old kings, the forgotten gods, and are they your resurrected heroes? It's Fnatic.
That's a lot of fancy titles right there, Trevor.
It is indeed. I have been practicing. I got one more for you, Deficio, because and their opponents today, the defending champions, 3-time back-to-back EU LCS victors, the current kings of Europe, defending the crown and title. It's G2 Esports.
And YoungBucks said that if they lose to Fnatic now, they won't fully lose the title of Kings of Europe. That's obviously saved for the final, potentially between Fnatic and G2 Esports. As a quick reminder here, they cannot face each other in playoffs until the final or the third place game, because of course G2 Esports will always have to play a team from the other side.
Yeah, of course, the reseeding from quarterfinals to semifinals means that this will not happen. This could be a preview of the finals if both teams continue to improve and play at the level we expect. Not the level they demonstrated on Thursday.
Oh, Thursday happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was watching from home.
Me too.
Deficio and Ninjas in Pajamas and Rocket, well, they upset the apple cart.
Yeah, it was a really weird day to watch from home with Fnatic suddenly dropping that Series 2 NIP. Obviously, Fnatic technically didn't play for anything already at that point after G2 lost to Rocket. But let's see this Pick a Man phase. So far, they're not spelling anything. They are, in fact, banning some pretty serious things away. Zac still being left open by YoungBuck. Maybe he's trolling. We will see.
Well, we'll find out sooner or later. Bottom lane, heavy focus here. Rakan, Tristana, Kalista, Caitlyn.
It's all the AD carries with like jumps, dashes that can escape from things like Jarvan engages. Meaning that both AD carries might have to sit further back in the fights. We heard both the guys, Zven and Rekkles, in the little feature, speaking their own language. And I gotta give one piece of feedback for Zven here. He needs to be more like aggressive when he's speaking Danish if he wants people to get really hyped. Like, it is a very lazy language, so if you just speak it normally, it just sounds like you're kind of bored and not actually like hyped for the game.
I've heard Deficio speaking Danish in the office a few times when he speaks to his family. It's amazing, it's nice, but it does sound a little bit like he's just saying hodor, 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 hodor. That's pretty much what it sounds like.
That's an old school D-man burn right there.
It is indeed. We're going old school because it's old kings versus new kings, Deficio.
Good change.
We have to keep the narrative going.
So,
you talked about Jarvan and he's insta-locked.
Yeah, so with their AD carry bans, they do value the Jarvan. Sadly for Fnatic, there was still one AD carry left that can actually escape a Jarvan engage, and that is Xayah, which is why Zven locks it in instantly. Gragas is a champion I want to see in the first rotation every single time. I love everything about him. The body is straight in my wheelhouse, and I also think his engage is pretty good.
Well, works out very well then. Letting the timer run down for that Gragas pick. Oh, it is somewhat of a flex, but it'll be Trick in the jungle, most likely to play it. Insta-lock there on the Gnar in the next round.
So this is about as standard as it could get so far. Gnar, Orianna, some of the best blind picks for top and mid lane. Very few actually like good meta counter picks. Something like a Jayce top lane works really well against the Gnar, but very few teams actually want to play it, other than Quickshot, who completely dumpstered Visichachi on it.
I have to change gears a little bit because I was watching that first series.
Me too.
And I was having some fun, feeling a little bit loose.
You put on the rubber duck tie.
I did indeed. I got the ducks out, you know, had some fun. But now we've got Deadly Serious. Galio locked in as well for G2.
Wait, is this LCK?
Ooh, I'm not sure.
They're playing Galio, potentially Galio mid lane.
It's not very exciting, is it?
Well, it's a European mid laner sacrificing himself for his team.
I'm not sure they know how to do that.
No, that does not happen very often. Perkz tried a few times earlier in the split, and then he went away from it. But this is a champion that could get first picked in LCK. And in most European games lately, no one even wants to play Galio.
Pretty sure I saw it earlier today as well in the hands of Faker, if memory serves correctly.
Yeah, first picked.
Definitely worked out very well for him today. Sorry, spoilers. And as we jump into phase 2, another bot lane ban. Siva taken off the table. I mean, look, Kennen is still available.
Yeah, I was about to say Twitch as well. You know, there's some old school Rekkles picks available.
Deficio, what about Twitch Janna and they try the GP10 lane?
I want to see it.
I'd love to see it.
I don't like the Relic Shield thing on Twitch, but I still want to see it.
Oh, I thought it was so much fun.
It was fun, but you lose your tower in like 6 minutes. That means the other team gets a lot of gold, you know, by just actually destroying your lane. But it might happen. The Rekkles Twitch could show up. Thresh being removed from Jess's side. Janna is still available for Mithy if he wants to play it in the bottom lane. He had a great performance. Was it last week?
Yep.
Because Thursday didn't really happen for G2, so it was last week.
We're going to consider Thursday a blip on the radar?
Yeah.
Is that fair? Is that maybe...
Like Thursday was like MSI group stage. Didn't actually happen. Playoff happened on the other hand.
Well, playoffs is exactly the level of performance G2 wants to bring today. Phase 2 bans rounded out. So G2 committed to the bottom lane. Siva and Thresh. Fnatic, on the other hand, committed to removing some of those counters. Renekton and Camille.
I mean, we might just see Expect take one of the 2 tanks already locked in for the top lane and just kind of sack his own lane. Or he actually plays the Jayce we talked about. Do it, Expect. Lock it in, man.
All right, let's see if he does. Jayce has been played once before. It was a loss for Expect. Yes. It's locked in. I think I'll try to turn it around.
All right, I like it. The Jayce counterpick to the Gnar in the top lane. So far, it looks like Galio mid and the Gragas jungle. We're just missing the support for Mithy. Ooh, that's a nice little champion here, Taric, against all these tanks, looking to just dive onto Fnatic's backline. Always love Taric. Sadly, he is picked blind right now, but with all the supports... Actually, no, it's only Thresh being removed at this point, so I think... and Rakan. I think Mithy is not too concerned about the Taric.
No, definitely not. Jesiz, let's see how well you get down those Cosmic Radiances. I mean, why not? You've got a lot of support. You've got some frontline. With all the other AD carries banned. Ooh. I mean, it's engaged, right? Ashe or Twitch?
It is. Like, so, the problem for Rekkles, of course, is all the mobile AD carries that are actually AD carries, so not Israel, is currently banned away or picked by Zven. So he needs to pick an AD carry that, of course, can't really escape. Let's say like Gragas engages, and then a Galio ulti comes down, and then maybe an Alistar flies in. And that's where Jesiz needs to save the day with the perfectly timed Taric ulti every single time. Yeah, because right now, Rekkles is not set up to carry. It's actually much more about the rest of his team trying to win these team fights, and Rekkles is on support duty for now.
Well, that's what Fnatic have been able to pivot to, right? I think if you look at the second half of the split, after Rift Rivals, with Fnatic started to play a little bit more meta, lean a little bit more on caps, lean a little bit more on sOAZ. It wasn't all about just do everything to keep Rekkles up and alive.
Oh, and that's a good thing for Fnatic, that obviously they can actually now look to caps once again on this Orianna. And also sOAZ, who I actually think has been the best performing top laner in the EU LCS this split. And when he gets his hands on Gnar, if he can actually survive the Jayce matchup, well, suddenly he might actually have a massive impact.
Do you think it's fair to say the Fnatic comp looks a little more linear, maybe a little easier to play, follow the Ashe arrow or follow the Jarvan engage? What do you think?
I feel like the only thing that's hard to execute on G2's side is the Jayce top lane, because what happens often in Europe with Jayce top is he gets 1 or 2 kills in a lane, we all praise him, then he forgets he actually is a really good split pusher, he runs into the first team fight he sees, smacks head first into a wall, dies a few times, gets completely useless, and then we go like, man, Jayce top suck, and then we never see it again. So this game from Expect, we actually don't want to see that. We want to see him win his lane, commit to the split push, and then only look for flanks when they actually already have good engage set up from G2's side with the Alistar, with the Gragas.
All right, so there we go. All the pressure on G2 and unlocking Jayce, as it were. Let's see whether or not sOAZ on this Gnar can shut him down. You know, Broxah's done well. I must give a little shout out to Broxah. It's his birthday today. Let's see whether or not he can give a present to Fnatic and pick up another series win.
I'm already voting for Broxah as player of the series. Dalo was my runner-up, but Broxah gets the first one.
Oh, the vintage memes today.
I used it on Twitter already, but I had to reuse it.
Vintage memes.
You know, we actually sometimes use too many memes in the ULCS, Trevor.
Oh, why do you have to remind people? That's what all the fun is about.
Is it really?
It is.
I think actually our jokes are great. Sometimes.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
But, yeah. Maybe it's our banter more than our jokes.
I think it's the banter.
Yeah, our jokes actually suck. We actually have terrible jokes.
We're definitely not like a one-liner type of joke show.
No.
But I must say that there's no jokes here today. G2 and Fnatic, deadly, deadly serious draft. It appears to be deadly serious start to the game. And again, it's scrim, it's practice. Even though, yes, it has no implications on the postseason.
Right.
You get to get inside your opponent's head a little.
Exactly. So in terms of standings, no implications. But I still think in terms of like confidence going into the next week for G2 Esports, because they're finally playing a quarterfinal for the first time actually since they joined the LCS over a year and a half ago. So for them, like they only have 1 week to get ready for the next game. Let's just pretend they get smacked 2-0. That doesn't feel great.
Nope.
You go in, you have 2 losses this week, suddenly you start questioning, maybe Zven is boosted, maybe the team comps are wrong, and then you suddenly want to change stuff. And that's not good. So you want to get, just a great game here, serious comps, good momentum, good confidence for the next week where they have to play against Splice.
Well, let's see whether or not the 2016 summer final delivers, because that was, of course, G2 versus Splice from last year. A little bit of shenanigans there from Mithy, pulling the wave as Zven decides to help out and then make his way back into lane.
Oh, look at that. Trick is already in the blue buff. Started there. Broxah finds him, though.
All right, early flash. Trick gets tagged up. Caps has found Trick. First blood available and for the taking. Caps and Broxah not going to find Trick. He's flashed over the wall. One more auto. Command attack for first blood.
So he started there at the blue buff, but Fnatic, they read the situation. Broxah, instantly after taking his own red buff, just rushed over to stop him. Actually, no, he must have started at the Raptors.
Hey, do you know what I remember during Picks and Bans? Was everybody listening to when Deficio said it was like that first week at MSI? And I was like, Brother Trick had just reappeared again on the Rift.
But so what he did was he started the Raptor camp, killed all the small Raptors with the Galio Q help so he could rush to blue buff. But there was a ward placed by Fnatic in the river. So yes, sure, you can blame him. But instead, Trevor, let's praise Fnatic for a great ward, reading the situation. So they find the Gragas. So this is after he's already killed his Raptors. This ward up here spotted Trick move in, and Broxah reacted instantly. And then I think Trick at this point literally just saved your flash.
Yep.
But Technically, he gets a flash in return, so it's not terrible for him. But, you know, you give up your kill or your life now, and sucks.
Well, Trick goes down. First blood to Caps. What I really liked in that replay, I didn't notice just how early sOAZ had also left his lane. So Fnatic, all on the same page, instantly, you know, surrounding Trick based on that vision.
Yeah, because we were looking bot lane, like my brain was like, oh yeah, the junglers, they're clearly on the first camp. And I was like, oh, he's on blue buff, what is he doing? And then suddenly, you forget for a moment, he of course started Rekkles. But Perkz wants to be a bit aggressive. Wow. That is one thing you can do on Galio.
Great combo.
Your early laning phase is actually pretty strong. That's why you can still feel powerful. But soon you have to commit to the team. Expect, he's on Jayce! No, don't kill him!
This is a champion whose laning phase is not very strong. Broxah gets the flash out with the flag and drag, and Expect, who was already in a weak start to the game, now flashless. That's going to complicate matters.
I mean, the problem is for Jayce is he needs to snowball. He needs to get the advantage over the Gnar, otherwise you're just so weak in team fights. So if you fall behind, Gnar joins a team fight, massive Mega Gnar, MVP. Jayce joins a team fight, deals a little bit of damage, dies, useless. So Expect here, he's going to need Trick to help him, or he's going to need Perkz at level 6 to help him, so he can actually get ahead in this lane. Right now, Trick obviously lost that flash from earlier, so his gank is not that impactful. And G2 Esports slowed down quite a lot after that start.
Yeah, so G2, a couple hundred gold down. Flashless, a couple of lanes. Both Caps, Expect, have some possibilities for being jumped on. I want to see whether or not Broxah can re-punish Expect if Expect keep pushing that lane. Something that Broxah's done, I think, exceptionally well all split. His early game impact, he seems to be fairly versatile. You know, he can change different lanes for ganking, different styles.
And it's kind of impressive story of Broxah, because I remember when he joined, replacing Amazing, it was kind of like, oh, this is a rookie, he's not going to do a whole lot. Let's see bot lane.
A lot of damage, very good route. Blade Caller comes out, stun. Decent lockup there from Jesiz. Manages to get the dazzle down, but forces heal, flash, and exhaust.
Yeah, very good engage here from Mithy. Actually, always playing very aggressive in lane with Alistar. Offensive summon a spell as well. Looking for the place. Trick, he's back in the jungle.
All right, let's see if Broxah can fend him off. Less support this time, because if you look at the minimap, both lanes pushing into Fnatic. Much more difficult to leave and roam and jump on Trick.
But back to Broxah real quick here. If the two junglers can stop potentially fighting each other. The fact that when he joined, we didn't know much about him, you know, this young Danish kid coming in. And then at first it looked like he could only play like ganking style. It was like, okay, Lee saying that's the only thing Broxah can play, and he just needs to perma-gank, and otherwise he's useless. And then I remember the third place game, you know, we were in Hamburg. He first picks Ivern. We were like, what the hell? That's like not a Broxah champion. Does really well on it. He started playing tanks in this split, and as you said here, the fact he's able to adapt to multiple patch changes as a very young jungler on a team that might not always be the easiest one to jungle for, because there's a lot of players who are asking for your assistance.
Yes.
Well, then it's actually very impressive.
Players asking for assistance like Caps, one of the new rookies as well, who's grown throughout the year. Deficio, if I were to ask you who the two most veteran players in the EU LCS were.
sOAZ.
And?
Mithy.
Ooh, Rekkles, in fact. And...
oh yeah, Rekkles, yeah.
Exactly. So if you take a look at the top of your screen, Fnatic and G2, in terms of career EU LCS games, all 5 Fnatic members add up to 850, all 5 G2 members add up to 721. The scary thing about that stat, sOAZ has played 310 games in the EU LCS. 310!
Every single... actually, almost every single split.
Yes.
Had to skip one, of course.
With Origin as they were re-qualifying. And
see,
of course...
I thought because Mithy obviously joined in Season 3 summer, so I'm like, okay, he's also been...
It's close.
But then he had to miss out on a few splits when he was also stuck in Challenger Series.
So, a couple of players here with hundreds of games to their name. So, as we just talked about him, 310 games takes a lot of damage. Remember, Trick coming to support, and I don't know if that ward just spotted him.
But it's what we talk about, you know, Expect getting some help up in the top lane to get ahead against sOAZ. I think against the Jayce here, if you are the Gnar, you can just go straight for Frozen Mallet. You don't actually have to rush like a Black Cleaver. Then you can just get a bit more HP under your belt, which can help you in some of these trades. A lot of different Jayce builds. I've seen the classic Rush Duskblade, Ghostblade, and just go like full on lethality and try and one-shot everything. I personally normally like the Blade of the Ruined King version.
Right.
A little bit more when you can go like Duskblade as a third item. You are not as all-in with that style, but expect he wants to be all-in today.
He does indeed. Picks himself up, that serrated Dirk. Gonna come back into lane, put some damage down against sOAZ's plethora of swords. He's gone triple Dorans into longsword Ruby Crystal on that Gnar. So all sorts of laning power. I mean, we're getting close to 10 minutes, and Fnatic have farmed themselves up a sizable gold lead, actually, with the help of First Blood as well. And every time Rekkles is firing his Hawkshot, just resetting vision on those camps, getting all of the information around Trick and what Trick could be doing, right?
Yep, they know there's no camps for him on top side. There's a blue buff available for him on bottom side, so they might just expect him to be down there. The Jayce with the serrated Dirk. No early armor on sOAZ. Meaning that Expect is doing a ton of damage.
Oh, I did not think that was going to happen. That's why I didn't interrupt. I mean, you didn't think that was going to happen. That's why you didn't set me up.
I mean, first of all, I thought... No, you know what? That was just great by Expect.
It was fantastic.
You know, no early Ninja Tabby for sOAZ, so, you know, their lethality just kicking in instantly from Expect, and yeah, sOAZ died with his flash up and everything. He did not expect it.
Deficio, I was listening to some casts with Medic and some of the caster basics and mechanics you're teaching people, you know?
Right.
How to do things.
Hey, Trevor, now we should talk about this fight.
Okay, I'll do that. Broxah got a little bit stuck in his own cataclysm there. Wobbles back and forth for a moment. Not quite sure what the cataclysm was going to do there. Regardless,
Try and force a flash.
Expect easily just backs away with one hammer to the face. And G2, realizing Broxah's up top, easily push down this bottom tower. There's no one that can respond. Teleports on cooldown, and Tower First Blood go to G2.
That was almost too easy for G2 Esports. First, Expect gets to kill top lane, and then Trick just goes bot lane while Broxah is busy, you know, getting stuck in his own wall. And then suddenly that's first turret, and Cloud Drake being started as well, Trevor.
All right, so 10 minutes on the clock for that first dragon.
Is there no Cloud Drake stat?
No, it's nothing really exciting or specific about this one.
Oh, that's why Trick doesn't want to kill it.
There we go.
Walks away.
All right, let's take a quick look. You can see... Oh, this is a replay of the kill that caught us both off guard.
I mean, I think we were obviously expecting, you know, the flash to come in to avoid the big shock blast, and then it didn't happen. He died very quickly.
And I'm going to go back to something you talked about in Picks and Bans, Deficio. If Expect's Jayce falls behind, the struggles he's going to have, and the power of the split push. If Expect is already winning the 1v1, and can keep doing that for a little while, at least, before Gnar starts to get tanky.
Again, remember, Gnar is still not sitting with any extra armor here. There's still no Ninja Tappy for him, so their damage from Expect is crazy if they can actually set him up again. Don't expect another 1v1 kill just to happen instantly. I think Trick or Perkz might join, but he's probably going to try. Broxah, still with flash. Perkz is pushing him away. So mid lane, funny enough, even though it was a hype matchup, it's been Orianna versus Galio.
And it's a farm lane.
It is.
It's about the team fights with both of those champions. Scaling on the side of Caps with Orianna, playing to the side lane, hitting that save me button when Perkz decides to use his ultimate. Oh, ooh, cheeky. Caps with the advantage.
BM.
Interrupts the back.
Oh, Perkz is with man, and he walks straight into lane.
Well, let's see if he can get the Justice Punch. I mean, it's interesting to see Zven and Mithy still not swap away from the lane. I guess Expect doing well in the 1v1. You don't really want to end that.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He's rushed the Duskblade.
Yeah. So he's going all in for just pure damage right now, and that's why, again, they want to keep him 1v1. They don't actually want to, like, do crazy lane swaps. If they can go and get a tower with the swap, it's fine. But if you can set Expect up to try and kill sOAZ again, that's even better for G2 Esports. So now they're going to just go in because they know they can take this top lane tower. What they did bot lane, that's important to notice, they pushed the bot lane all the way into the tier 2 tower where Rekkles is sitting, if you look at the minimap. And that allows them now to walk up to the top side of the map and just be really far ahead of Fnatic in terms of any place that can happen, because Rekkles can't really leave his lane. So Rift Tower will die, top lane tower will die, and if Fnatic gets a bot lane tower in return, that's fine. That's a good trade for G2.
Yeah, definitely going to be in favor of the defending EU LCS champions. You can see Perkz moving with the wave clear down bottom. He not only has teleport, but also that ultimate, if anything were to happen. Let's see how much damage Fnatic can get on the tower. Rekkles with the F-Sword and a couple of long swords. Going to keep chunking this one down, but the new minion wave, this will make it pretty much certain for Fnatic. I'm looking at the rest of G2. Deficio, they haven't put pressure on the top lane. I mean, they've got that Rift Herald if they want to unlock mid lane at some point.
Yeah, and the top lane tower is so low that technically not dead, but it's almost dead. Like, it requires one push in from expecting they're going to get it.
I have to keep you, technically correct.
You are technically correct as well there, and keeping me technically correct.
I'm just working with you here. And, Ninja Tabble was picked up by sOAZ and is lost back.
Fnatic brush. Perkz brush.
Let's see if he walks into a Fnatic brush. Not going to yet.
Well, he's walking into all of them. He doesn't care.
Yeah. Pretty brave. Not a lot of vision set up from G2. I look at the mini-map. Defensive wards from Fnatic. What do you think of those pinks behind mid-tower? Definitely gonna help protect Caps, right? Prevent Trick coming in from behind with that barrel.
And they're also the anti-Alistar wards, because Alistar is always the support who loves to roam in behind the mid laner, go for the crazy dive where you can't really stop him, and those two control wards by Fnatic near the mid lane will actually spot Mithy if he's trying any crazy flanks early on. So they're learning from certain other EU LCS teams who forgot to place those wards and died multiple times. I'm maybe looking at Misfits and PowerOfEvil here against Spruddle's Alistar.
It definitely ended up costing Misfits, didn't it?
It did, a week ago.
Deficio, you did see Cloud Drake going down. I know it is your favorite Drake. If I were to ask you how many Cloud Drakes these two teams have got the split, do you have an inkling?
I need a hint.
You need a hint?
Like, do it combined or each?
So let's go with each. I'll tell you that G2 have 10% more Cloud Drakes than Fnatic, and both of them are in double digits.
Yep. Of course they're double digits.
Of course they are. I mean, they're like two winners. So I'll tell you what.
I'm gonna
22.
I was gonna say 22.
Well, of course you were. Now you got the
I was
answer.
totally gonna say 22.
Well, 22 Cloud Drakes for the defending champions and only 20 for Fnatic.
What a shame.
It's just shocking. 2 Cloud Drakes less, and they're running for the title.
I mean, I think it tells us something about, getting Cloud Drakes.
It does. They're just not that appealing to the old kings of Europe, Fnatic.
They understand the meta. Mithy also understands the meta on this Alistar. Once again, denying us a lot of cowbell. Apparently last time he did actually do it in base just when the game started.
I actually asked him about it in the post-game interview.
Right.
And
I also got called out on Twitter because he said he didn't do it. But that happened. Expect, as I said before, technically didn't kill the tower, but now he did. So G2 gets the advantage a little bit later, but they get it.
Well, it feels like G2 are in control of the map. They got the first tower, they got the second tower, they've roamed a little bit more, they've got the Rift Herald waiting to be sprung on an unsuspecting lane. And Fnatic, as we go past 15 minutes, I mean, they've got one-item spikes pretty much across the board, almost there for sOAZ. Now I need to see Rekkles' arrows. Can he find any picks? Can he set something up? Well, Trick is already going to get the shockwave forced. He gets bounced backwards. Rift Herald's going to be focusing down the tower. Trick gives his life, and Fnatic turn around. What was a Trick engage?
That was a combo. Before Gragas got nerfed, that could have worked really well for him, but a great reaction from Caps with the flash and arrow.
Gets the flash out of Perkz. Now all of a sudden G2 are defending. That was a fantastic turnaround from Fnatic.
That engage just came out of nowhere from Trick. Like, he placed down the Rift Herald at the same time, and then he went for the fight to try and get Caps away from the lane with the wave clear, but Jayce was still in the side lane. Mithy wasn't even nearby. Re-engage.
All right, let's see what Mithy can do. Forced to use the ultimate. Hero's entrance comes down from Perkz. The wave has been killed, and G2 hold on to their tower. They've lost the gold lead for now, but Fnatic, when grouped, have the advantage, it feels.
And when G2 uses Rift Herald, their own tower drops down to 10% HP. They barely even got to hit the Fnatic tower on the other side because they all died, or Trick died, and that's enough to actually then force all of them back to this mid lane tower. It will die now. Fnatic suddenly getting the advantage in the mid lane. It looked like a G2 play for a moment.
That's how I set it up. G2 have map control, G2 are in the lead, and then this happens.
So they want to get rid of the wave clear. Right now, 2 members of G2 are not here. They're not near the mid lane.
Sorry, we're going to jump back because Perkz is in trouble, running away from Fnatic. And that's Caps with the killing spree to take him down.
All right, this Orianna who wanted to scale, who we said, it's more about Caps than Rekkles in this game because Rekkles will struggle to deal a lot of damage on Ashe here against all the big tanks and engage on the side of G2 Esports. Well, now this Orianna is sitting with 3 kills already at 18 minutes. Mid-end tower is already dead. Fantastic start for Caps. And suddenly, G2 Esports finding himself quite far behind. within just like 2 minutes of play.
Yep, 2 minutes and 2 plays, right? Trick jumps onto Caps, it backfires, Perkz gets caught out. Expect now with this Duskblade and another serrated Diak, he's pushing mid, but can he stay in a side lane if his team is falling behind?
Well, that is kind of the goal for him as Jayce. Let's talk again about lethality and some of the issues for him now that he might, you know, run into. There will be more armor stacking on sOAZ and Broxah the later we go into this game, which meaning the lethality will not be very effective against those two guys. So Expect's job in a fight, if he wants to get the maximum out of his damage, is actually to find Rekkles, you know, from a potential flank, or find Caps. And then see if you can actually nuke them down with your lethality. But that's so hard to do on Jayce in fights. It's so hard to play him in team fights.
Especially when there's a Jarvan, Gnar, and Taric potentially body blocking. If you look at the bottom right corner of your screen, Fnatic grouping around the top lane. It looked like they were setting up for something, but G2 not falling prey. Trick and Mithy were in the area, they backed away. And as it stands, Fnatic kind of reset the map. They've got a lot of vision around that Baron. It will spawn in about 30 seconds.
But this time Expect got to push up bot lane. He can now roam first, so the window is his to use. Currently he is staring down Broxah, trying to take a red buff. There's no Drake alive for another 20 seconds, so technically he can't actually use that little opening he found before. Do it again though, and this time around Drake will be alive, and you can actually go take the Drake while Rekkles is busy killing the wave under his own tower.
Well, looking at itemization as we get close to mid-game. 20 minutes in, Infernal Drake's up. Ooh. Both teams willing to fight for it.
Yeah, baby.
So as the teleport's available, he'll be a little late to this fight. But if he can get that Gnar bar charged up, G2 have to respect it.
No flash on Caps right now for the potential fight. Mithy can look for him.
Teleport coming down for sOAZ. Dragon not going to be stolen away. G2 pick up the Infernal. Broxah's on the front line. Where's the Cataclysm? As the Cosmic Radiance has already been used. sOAZ forces away Perkz at the top of the screen. Trick, body slam flash, needs a target. It's going to be sOAZ. sOAZ in Gnar. He's about to time out. Trick has used a barrel, but it didn't do anything. Hero's entrance comes down. Nobody's died yet. Rekkles tagged low. Heal gets him to safety, and everybody disengages.
Caps stayed so far back in that fight that G2 Esports could not properly engage onto him. And instead, they actually end up being pushed down towards the side. It's Fnatic pushing for the mid lane tower.
Oh, a lot of damage coming up. Perkz with flash available. Not going to get the taunt from the Durand. Wave clear now, or wave cleared now, I should say. And the tower takes 75% HP. While G2 get their second Drake of the game. Is the Infernal.
That's a close one right there. Broxah jumping in, trying to get a piece of that cake. Meanwhile, we actually get a teleport right now from Perkz and Expect.
All right, one was cancelled. That was, in fact, Perkz. Expect's going to finish his. A little bit of miscommunication, maybe. I don't really know. But G2, they're setting up for a counter siege.
They're taking notes of the last series we watched, and they just want to have a little bit of fun and jump in and fight all the time, because that teleport from Expect was not great. Unless it was a tempo TP. Straight back in lane.
Well, that seems to be the case, Deficio. Minion wave is making its way down, and G2 looking to go under tower. Remember, Perkz with that flash, doesn't use it yet. Ashe arrow catches Perkz, but that's a 3-man knockup. Mithy may have saved the team. All of a sudden, Fnatic fall back. G2 take their third tower. Shockwave catches Expect, but the Featherstorm and Blade Caller gets one. Accelerated Shock Blast takes a second. G2, 2 kills, and the tower.
And this time they get the right engage here. We talk about all the big tanks, and Mithy leading the charge here, always trying to set up the fight. Successful engage from G2 Esports straight towards the Baron. Let's see, Fnatic right now. Broxah full HP, Smite is available.
All right, Broxah, can he steal? Can he get in and out? Cataclysm and Flash is up as well. Full HP, G2 on the defensive while Rekkles is pushing the mid lane.
All right, so you will get down to mid lane tower. Baron drops. Poor Broxah was forced away straight away, and Fnatic losing that fight and losing the Baron as well.
All right, G2 just regain map control.
This game swings back and forth all the time. This engage is fantastic from Mithy and G2 Esports. Like, it's actually Fnatic starting the whole fight, but then the combo from Mithy, all the carries from Fnatic actually getting hit. Rekkles forced to flash instantly. Caps the same, and great follow-up here from Zven to secure the kill, and Taric falls. And it's what we talk about, you know, when you play some of these low mobility carries against engage like Alistar and Gragas, you will get caught out.
Yes.
You will be forced to flash, and if you then are dropping too low, well, you can't rejoin the fight. Caps tried, and he ended up going down for it.
The hype video for today was, of course, Zven and Rekkles playing chess. And that was a very apt video because that's what this game feels like. They're trading pieces, you know, trading those pawns, trading those knights. 3 kills apiece, 3 towers to 4, but it's G2 that have got the more juicy ones. 2 dragons under their belt. They've got a Baron, and now they're already setting up the siege on the inhibitor turrets. Deficio, there's a lot of Fnatic fans in the audience, and they're a little bit stunned because Fnatic's engage on Zven just fails.
Yeah, Zven with the Xayah, almost impossible to hit the ulti on. Perkz wants to buff up the minions in the mid lane. A back and forth game like this is exactly why I'm just hoping we get G2 Fnatic in playoffs, facing each other, because both teams are very close in terms of level.
Oh, I'd love to see the Baguette wielder sOAZ on the final stage in Paris again. See what Fnatic can do. I mean, it's been a long time since Fnatic was very good. It's been a long time since Fnatic's 18-0 record in the summer splits. And G2 for 3 splits back to back to back. They have been the best team. This is the resurrection of Fnatic, and you can see both franchises' best win-loss record over the last few years.
Yeah, we have to remember G2 Esports were undefeated in terms of series for a full year until they lost, funny enough, to Rocket, as always. And then Rocket have done it a few times against other teams with bot lane.
All right, Barrel comes out. sOAZ is able to escape. Flash still available to him, but the base is broken open. Ashe arrow from Rekkles. Where does that enchanted crystal arrow go? If it hits a target, that's how Fnatic can engage.
Yeah, but you're hitting on Mithy right now. It's so hard for Rekkles to do anything on this Ashe here. There's a million tanks in front of him. He doesn't want to hit with the arrow. There's a Xayah you can't hit with the arrow because of her ulti. Makes it almost impossible to succeed as an Ashe in this game.
Would you have preferred a Twitch? Hindsight being 2020. Would it have made a difference?
It's hard to say
tough,
if it would have
right?
made a difference. In the mid-game, Ashe, of course, could actually do something with arrows, but if you are going to try and kill tanks in the late game, then yes, I would prefer the Twitch above it, but the laning phase would have been a lot weaker, so there's always a trade-off.
Yeah.
Do you want to suck more in lane, or do you want to be better in lane? Do you want to, you know, be better late game?
Well, those are the questions that teams have to answer. And if they don't necessarily use what they land on, use their answer in the right way, that's how you see these situations where G2 have a gold lead, they've broken open Fnatic's base. I mean, they used that Baron so well.
Yeah, if we just, you know, step away from just, you know, the last pick AD carry and look at the draft itself, like, what happened was all these mobile AD carries like Caitlyn, Kalista, Tristana, they were all banned. So when Fnatic first picked the Jarvan, they left open Xayah that was locked in instantly by Zven, and that meant that 4 mobile AD carries, all gone. Nothing left for Rekkles to play if he actually wants to, you know, try and be safe in the game.
Yeah.
And I think he just made the call towards the end, like stronger laning phase, get a bit of utility from the Ashe, and then rely more on Gnar and Jarvan, and of course Orianna. And I can't really fault him for the call.
Yeah.
But we see right now how hard it is for Rekkles to do anything.
Yeah, those Ashe arrows just not working while we were breaking down the G2 comp. Of course, they picked up that Mountain Drake. There's no way that Fnatic can get away from that Earth, Wind, and Fire composition. There's reasons that Fnatic are behind in this game. And we'll see whether or not the fantasy of taking down G2, the defending champions, is going to come true.
I love that you're trying.
I am. It's a reference that only a few oldies will know.
Can Rekkles and Fnatic get back in this game here? It's still only 3,000 gold in favor of G2 Esports, so it's by no means over if you just look at, you know, the gold difference. But then when you look at G2 Esports, already now 3 items on Zven, the tanks are so hard to take down, and this Jayce, 201, has committed to the side lanes and never all-in in a team fight.
Yep.
Expect always joins in, shoots a few shock blasts, try to hit the back line, and then he waits for the proper engage before he goes in.
Expect didn't need to, right? He's got that 3rd item now, Black Cleaver, Ghostblade, Duskblade as well. G2 played the map, they used that Baron to split up. Weren't really looking for big engagers. You mentioned it as well. Deficio Perkz going mid, buff up the minions. And it feels like G2 will just wait for the next Baron and either
Look at Mithy.
force Fnatic's hand to come to them in the pit, or secure Baron safely, and then just knock over the last few objectives.
Exactly. You know Expect will keep pushing the bottom lane. There's no tower in front of him. There's an inhib he can start hitting if he actually goes really far in towards the base and if all of Fnatic are showing themselves on the map. But otherwise, you already got the control ward set up. Like, the next Baron, G2 Esports barely need to do any extra work to actually start it because they've already set up everything beforehand, and now they're just protecting those wards and keeping Fnatic pushed down to the base.
It's very exciting if not only this series continues, this level of play and tension, but also what it means for the playoffs if G2 and Fnatic bring this level of play.
I mean, the good thing is for the team who loses, they can just say the game didn't matter.
Yeah.
We were just having fun.
Oh, so you've already got the excuses prepared, is what you're saying.
It's literally there. Like,
Right.
I'm expecting someone to start fake laughing towards the end when they lose the first game, be like, yeah, troll picks.
Whoa, look at that, by the way. sOAZ with Ninja Tap in randoms gets chunked to 30% by Expect's 3 items.
Well,
feels bad, man.
It does feel very bad. sOAZ never really got in this game here on the Gnar after he got solo killed top lane. Normally, you want to be able to actually have a little bit of side lane pressure on Gnar, and then you can...
It's your fault, by the way.
You know, jump into teamfight. Why?
Because at the beginning of the game, you said that sOAZ was the best top lane performer all split.
Oh yeah, it's true.
And because you dropped that line,
it's true.
He's doomed to fail.
Medic and myself, we found the counter to that, though. It is if we both say it, it actually removes the curse.
All right, well, we'll do a test in the next game.
Let me do a test now. Mithy will have another great engage in this game. Now, you need to say the same.
Mithy's definitely going to have a great engage this game.
There we go. We removed the curse.
002, Flash and Moby's available to him, and Baron is live. So Deficio, if there were an opportunity, it would be now.
All right. Oh, I don't know. All right. Fnatic will secure the Baron, man. They will get the Baron.
Fnatic will secure the Baron. They see if the double negative makes it a positive. Trick waiting in the wings as Expect will take down the inhibitor. He has not channeled the teleport. Expect continues to pressure. Trick goes in. Not going to be able to steal it. The double negative means Fnatic gets Baron. But can they get back to save their base? Enhanced recalls means sOAZ and Rekkles should be able to get back. Now Expect is running for his life. G2 cannot stop anymore. Expect forced to flash already. Manages to transform. sOAZ gets the crunch and Caps gets the kill. Now Jesiz is the target in the top lane as he's taken down by Trick.
All right, Expect stayed in the bottom lane, got one Nexus turret and the inhib. He's dead for 40 seconds now, but the rest of G2 Esports alive, full HP. No Baron buff. Went over to Fnatic. Broxah secured it with the help of Caps. Caps got the last hit, but obviously the jungler, part of that setup. G2 Esports will be unhappy losing a Baron when they were actually ahead in this game. But they got at least an inhib and a Nexus turret, so if you put the Jayce back down there, you might get another one.
While it was almost trivial. G2 had all of the vision, they had the map control.
But they lost it.
Pushed them away and contested the vision.
Yeah, the reason Fnatic could push them away because they sent sOAZ to the mid lane, so it was 5v4. They just pushed up mid, walked in, cleared the river, started the Baron instantly. They knew they need to rush down Baron, secure it, because they can't stop the Jayce in the split push right now. And while losing one Nexus turret and inhib sucks, at the same time, you getting the Baron, the most important part is G2 did not get the Baron. They could not use the Baron to push it for the win.
Fnatic fans in Berlin, I'm sure you saw the Lost to Ninjas in Pajamas, where we almost had the backdoor shenanigans. There's a possibility with teleports up. Expect and Perkz can do the same. And we'll see whether or not Fnatic can defend their base, their last remaining Nexus turrets.
Yeah, no ward being placed in Fnatic's base by G2 Esports. Not possible for Expect to do it. So they can't TP anywhere other than that control ward in the top lane.
I'm going to say yes.
Yet. I mean, that control ward is very far away. Right now, Fnatic with the Baron buff want another turret. They really want to force Perkz back to try and help defend.
Well, Fnatic, after losing their inhibitor turret, the equivalent of maybe a queen in chess.
Rekkles tried another arrow and was ulted by Zven.
sOAZ is going to back away. Notice that Perkz was missing. sOAZ backs, whether that's to defend potentially or not, don't know. Either way, Fnatic aware of it, and of course, There's still some objectives to knock over. Fnatic will secure their first dragon. And look at sOAZ push the wave out, walk past the control ward, and the outer turret top seems to be the target.
All right. Very low turret. Might as well get the goal, trying to even out the score a bit more here for Fnatic. In terms of items, they're all very close to each other. Still Zven slightly ahead here with 4 fully completed items. But Caps got his Void Staff. Expect, though, he's having a great time in this game. We talked about sOAZ being probably the best performing top laner this split. I think a guy like Expect lately, definitely getting up there.
Yep.
Other guys as well, like Orianna, challenging for that position. A lot of guys actually really sitting and competing for the top spots if we look here at the different teams in Europe.
Yeah, everybody feels like they're peaking at the right time for some of the teams, actually. Well, Broxah's going to go in, Cataclysm in, flag and drag out, holds on to his flash. Mithy finds the disengage. Shockwave pulls Perkz backwards. Perkz has now flashed to safety. Gets caught up. A 4-man stun to the Durand. Jesiz knocked backwards as the Cosmic Radiance keeps him alive long enough for Rekkles to get the kill. Burning through the tanks. G2 Esports on the retreat, and Expect he's going to look for a flank. Going to look for a shot blast onto Rekkles. Going to be body blocked by Jesiz.
This game is so fun. Right now, Fnatic with the great Taric ulti here from Jesiz. They survived the first engage. They can re-engage and actually just keep hitting Perkz. Yes, it takes time, but if the G2 Esports guys can't actually do anything in return, well, suddenly the tanks are not that scary with their lack of damage.
Yeah.
Expect was not in that fight because he was dealing with sOAZ, who TP'd in behind. It was only Zven there to deal damage.
Simply not enough. Especially when Expect is on that 4-item spike. GA picked up. Guys, it's 35 minutes into the game, and we are bang on even. Towers in favor of G2, but Fnatic have survived the onslaught, and they find themselves a few fights to win. But look at the teleports. This is going to cut off Fnatic's retreat. Perkz and Expect potentially available to jump in. Expect's running down the river. Caps already used Cleanse, and that's a good stunner to Expect. It's long. Perkz goes forward to the Durand. Trick over the wall. No explosive cask available to him. Knockup comes in from Broxah. Cosmic Radiance will buy some time. That's another for Rekkles. The Fnatic faithful go mad here in Berlin. Another stun onto Trick. Mithy finds the engage. Deficio and I've correctly predicted. 2-man Shockwave onto Zven and Expect. Broxah not going to find anything with a Cataclysm. That makes it a double for Rekkles. A triple as the fight extends. Expect with GA. Sidesteps. Gets accelerated shock blast. Easy target going to be available here as he comes back from the GA. And Jesiz gets the kill.
And we talked about how hard it is as a Jayce to join these team fights properly. And you can see at G2 Esports, despite having that fed top laner, are simply not able to win the fights at the moment. The tankiness, due to the Taric ulti on the side of Fnatic, makes it very difficult for G2 Esports to burst someone down. And now, Rekkles has been able to sit there in the back of multiple fights, just shooting and shooting and shooting, and actually picking up quite a few kills.
Well, now all of a sudden, G2 have to defend. 10 seconds for Trick, 25 for Expect. Fnatic, how brave are you? 1 minute to Baron.
No reason to risk it. You've just been winning 2 fights in a row. You don't have to go all in for some Nexus rush. They do step away. 3rd Baron suddenly looking like the big target.
It will indeed. Fnatic now have a 5,000 gold lead. We're hitting the late game, and this is the teleport that started it all.
Yeah, so Perkz comes in with TP. The carries of G2 Esports are joining now, but Expect he gets arrowed by Rekkles, so he's not dealing any damage. Zven is not in the fight yet either. This is just Perkz taking damage for free. Nothing is actually being put back on towards Fnatic. And as you can see in this fight here, if part of your front line is splitting up and going in on its own and the carries can't follow, well then, Rekkles and Caps are feeling safe. They can deal damage. They can take their sweet time to actually just nuke down, I say nuke, poke down these tanks and then finish them in the end. Chip away on them. Like, Expect in that fight barely got to do anything. Zven barely got to do anything before Perkz had already died. Fnatic are playing the fights better at the moment.
And now you can see why both Fnatic and G2 came into this match with a serious mindset, with a serious scrim mentality. Let's take a look at sOAZ and Expect as this could turn serious. sOAZ not going to use the Gnar yet. Ashe arrow flies wide. Expect turns it 1,500 hit points. Shock Blast is jumped away from. sOAZ didn't fancy any more of that fight. And G2 and Fnatic, they're trading blow for blow. They're trading objective for objective. And Mithy's now caught behind enemy lines. Rekkles is already flashed, maybe out of fear of the hero's entrance. Cosmic Radiance comes down, it's an extended fight. sOAZ waiting for the TP, hasn't pulled the trigger as far as I can see. Fnatic
now
have not pulled it yet. Here comes sOAZ, Deficio.
Mithy is right now behind Fnatic, takes the blast cone out. Baron is alive, no summoner spells for Rekkles, that could be key for the next fight. But we've seen now so many different fights where G2 Esports, they send in Perkz, the carries can't follow first, Perkz dies, and then the carries are trying to do something like the last fight, we saw the graph, 6,000 damage from Zven. But all of that came after Perkz had already died, and it was them running away, so it just simply wasn't enough to actually kill anyone on the side of Fnatic, and we gotta follow the next fight here for G2 Esports. Can they combine the engage with the carries joining instantly?
Teleport's almost available for Perkz, and if you look at the minimap, there is a blue G2 ward just at the bottom left of your screen there.
Yeah, but you're Jayce. Oh, it's so hard to TP in behind us, Jayce. He might have to do it now.
He may have hero's entrance available. Perkz doesn't have it yet. Mithy's going forward. Catches him. Trick steals away the Baron. Caps is the target for now. Headbutted. Where's the damage, G2? It's simply not here. Zven and Perkz running for their life. Trick goes down and sOAZ gets hyper. Tries to catch out Perkz, who is dunks down with a Cataclysm. His flash becomes available and instantly used. Okay, G2, 3 members to defend and Baron buff.
Let's see if Fnatic, they're rushing towards the Nexus. They got super minions already on the turret. Zven is recalling. He's already back in base now, but 5 members of Fnatic incoming.
Deficio, I've seen this movie before with Fnatic pushing onto a Nexus turret, pushing onto the Nexus. Let's see if this time they can finish it. Broxah, flag and drag, finds no knockup. Zven and Expect chunk him down. 2,000 hit points as he backs away. Nexus turret number 1 is down. The cheers in the crowd as Cosmic Radiance keeps Fnatic alive. Featherstorm and Bladecaller buy some time, but Fnatic fight back and take down G2.
This is why we want to see more games of Fnatic versus G2 Esports. Back and forth trading, advantages for one team, then it turns. Suddenly we see Baron calls. Some succeeded, some failed. We saw Trick steal a Baron in the end away from Fnatic, but it was another fight. 3 team fights in a row in the late game, without having replayed them properly, but that I saw where the front line of G2 would go in, the carries, Zven and Expect, could not follow.
Yep.
And I want to see the damage graphs before anyone actually dies, and just follow it until the first tank dies and see how much damage did Zven and Expect deal before either was it Mithy or was it Perkz ended up dropping, because most of these late game fights you would see one of the tanks die, and then suddenly Fnatic would start chasing, and yes, you can deal a bit of damage as Zven, but you're running away. You're not going to win the fight then.
And good luck running away from Gnar, Ashe, Orianna. Multiple cooldowns on the slows, the ability to just keep chasing you.
And then a Taric
stick
ulti
to you as well.
And a Taric ulti when you finally think, okay, now we turn. Jesiz ulti comes down. No one will die. And it was difficult. You said, or you asked, actually, after Champs Select, like, is it hard to play the G2 comp? Yada, yada, yada. Like, we talked about the Jayce specifically, how hard it is to execute him, you know, towards these team fights.
Yes.
And we saw it here from Expect. It was hard for him to actually get in and do something, because he needs to get onto, like, Rekkles or Caps with this lethality build. Never allowed to.
He wasn't able to do so. That meant G2 were unable to take down Fnatic, who took down a G2 in response. Here's Drakos and the boys to break it down.
Thank you, gentlemen. A very intense game. I think it's safe to say I want to start by looking at the picks and bans, because I feel like, as the casters already mentioned, it's 2 very different compositions and what they're trying to achieve. And just to start us off, I want to talk a little bit about the mid lane matchup. It was our focus before. We had Caps playing the Orianna. We have, of course, the Galio on the opposite side for Perkz and Power as our on-desk mid lane expert. What is your impression of this matchup? I know it's not the most exciting one.
Well, it's pretty simple. The Orianna just wants to scale and has, like, I guess, the clock ticking against the Galio, because at 3-4 items, depending on the team compositions, she just outscales the Galio and deals way more damage in team fights and can pull all this, like, magical shockwave where she can just win a team fight alone. And the Galio goal is to ult side lanes and kind of push the mid lane, ult to side lanes, but I felt like he couldn't really do it this game, since on bot lane, they had, like, hard winning bot lane, so they got a turret. And afterwards, there was, like, not a real, how to say, like, engage possibility, since Fnatic bot lane played really safe. And on top lane, they have the Jayce counterpick against the Gnar, but the Jayce can't really lock down the Gnar, so you can't really get kills there as well. So you can only get like the turret advantage.
And that was an interesting thing that you were talking during the game, is not only can the Jayce not lock down the Gnar, the Jayce doesn't provide a reliable way for Galio to get into the fight either. You were saying if he's not sticking to Gnar, you can't ult in. It's only then Trick that is an option to bring the Galio into the fight, and that made it a little bit more difficult for that mid lane matchup outside of just the lane.
And one of the things I want to praise is we saw G2 find some of those early advantages. You talked about bottom lane. We saw even expect getting that solo kill on the top side, but Fnatic still gave so much respect over G2 and their composition as we look in at our first replay. Looking at a post-Infernal, what could have very well been a fight from the side of Fnatic. Power, why don't you walk us through this?
I think in this team fight, you can see really good that Fnatic is playing I would say the compositions perfectly. They go in, but they instantly run out, and they're like, I guess, kiting backwards, and they kind of try to split the G2 apart. So Galio is chasing the Galio, so he can't really join the fight, and they just never give the opportunity to Galio to ult in. And here you can see the Trick flash Gragas engage, but they have like nothing else besides the Gragas flash engage. So if the flash of Gragas or Alistar's down, the only opportunity that they have is, I guess, Alistar flank. We saw it a few times in the game, but I think Fnatic played really, really good here, and you could see clearly that if G2 doesn't get like a really good engage with the Gragas or the Alistar, Fnatic's comp is just way better by kiting back. They have the Gnar to kite back with the Frozen Mallet. They have the Orianna slows and shields coming in. Ashe is really, really good at kiting back, and they can always, like, how to say, they can always make a comeback with the Taric ultimate if they want to, after they chunk them down.
And also with the Orianna shockwave, like we saw Caps using the ball to zone away. One thing Fnatic did really well is never give up objectives for free or anything like that. Even on the Rift Herald play, it was actually G2 that lose their turret from it, because Fnatic move Caps into a position where they can defend and then push down a tower. They did it at the end of that replay where they say, okay, you got the dragon, but that doesn't matter because we already have the in on mid lane and we can push G2 away. And
despite the success, however, that Fnatic saw over the course of this game, there were still a few moments where we had some question marks. We're going to take a look at one particular mid lane dive, well executed on the side of G2, but we have to keep our eyes on Caps in this one.
So the situation occurred that Fnatic got already the turret mid lane, they sieged up, and now it's the counter push by G2. And I think Fnatic should have just spaced and give up the turret, get the tempo. And here G2 gets a really good engage, and Caps is greeting a lot by doing a shockwave. I was questioning a little bit since, first of all, they should have just given up the turret. Like, they got so much and they have the scaling comp, you don't need to risk it. But since they stayed, they need to play really safe, because if one guy drops low life or one guy goes down, it's free Baron for G2, and that's, I would say, the only comeback they can do, or the only play which can kind of bring G2 back into the game or snowball the game out of control. So Caps overstepping there for the shockwave was hurting Fnatic a lot and nearly lost the game for them.
It nearly did, but it didn't in the end. I feel like this was an incredibly back and forth game. Fnatic were still able to come back in the end. Stress, I mean, what was your impression of just the late game play from Fnatic? To me, it was just a lot of confidence in what they were trying to do. And it's one of the reasons why I think Gnar Orianna in phase 1 for Fnatic is so strong. They're blind pickable, they're decent in lane, they have great late game team fighting as well. And although G2 had some picks that can deal with it, you see that at some point Orianna comes online and Gnar will have team fight presence as long as you balance that Mega Gnar bar right to get into a fight. And that's what Fnatic were able to do, is they had good engage with Jarvan, and then the follow-up from their solo laners is just easy to pull off. That's why Fnatic are able to come back into the late game fights. And just to round this out, Power, I'm curious if you think this win is more of Fnatic out-drafting G2 or Fnatic out-playing G2 in game.
I honestly think you need to praise Fnatic a lot by coming back into the game. I think the game was really lost after that play. But Fnatic did this really risky Baron call where they just rushed on the Baron. It's a 50-50, or I would say maybe like a 70-30, since they have the Orianna Shockwave combining it with the Smite. And it's such a pressure situation since the Jayce is literally in your base, so far in, and they just pull out this play, which is incredibly risky and ballsy. And you need to credit a lot whoever did this shot call, since it's like, that was, I would say, the only comeback for Fnatic afterwards. And they just managed to pull it off. And I just think it was, I would say maybe besides G2 and Fnatic, no one would have done that call. And I think even us, we would have not done that, and we would have just lost.
Well, it's a brave play for sure. Well, now Fnatic are on the verge of taking a big win against G2. We'll find out if they can close the series when we return. We'll be back in just 3.5.
I must give a little shout out to Broxah. It's his birthday today. Let's see whether or not he can give a present to Fnatic.
No early armor on sOAZ. Meaning that Expect is doing a ton of damage.
We're gonna jump back because Perkz is in trouble, running away from Fnatic. Fnatic fall back. G2 take their third tower. Shockwave can't Expect, but the Featherstorm and Blade Caller gets one. Trick waiting in the wings as Expect will take down the inhibitor. He has not channeled the teleport. Expect continues to pressure. Trick goes in, not gonna be able to steal it.
It worked!
Back, end. I'm back. We can chase him now.
Two-man Shockwave onto Zven and Expect. Broxah not gonna find anything with a Cataclysm. That makes it a double for Rekkles. Nexus star number 1 is down. The cheers in the crowd as Cosmic Radiance keeps Fnatic alive. Featherstorm and Blade Caller buy some time, but Fnatic fight back and take down G2.